Okay, there are levels to this, there are levels to this, there are levels to this, there are levels to this card. We have so many perceptions and conceptions and misconceptions of the devil and hell, and everybody has their idea of exactly what it is. So here, let me give you my twist, and let me put a little information on it in regards to looking at it from a tarot point of view, but also looking at it not just from a spiritual point of view, that this is a place that we go after our physical form passes away, but understanding that we can be in a hell in many different forms and in many different ways, that there's levels to this, and that the hell that we create here in our physical form, we actually live that out and continuously recreate that world. And if we continue to recreate that world here on the physical form, then that is the world that we are creating on the spiritual form. And that's the reason why they talk about hell. And that's the reason why we're always talking about doing good, and what you put out is what you receive, just the law of reciprocity. So once you have an understanding of this, to understand that your hell is not just some separate place as to where you go once your physical form passes away, but to have an understanding that you either live, or you either create your heaven or your hell right here on earth right now, and you either live in your heaven or your hell in earth right now, and that same heaven and heaven or hell that you are living in or creating right here on earth right now is that same heaven or hell that you are creating once your physical form passes away. Because on earth as it is in heaven, and what we bind here on earth, we bind in heaven, and what we loose here on earth, we loose in heaven. So that is the trick. That is the trick that is put onto us, and that is the trap, because we're too busy thinking that hell is just a place that we go to after we pass and after our physical form passes away. So we feel like, we have time, we can do whatever we're doing right now, and we have time when, or that we, or the bigger trap is that not recognizing that your hell is right here, right now. And so therefore, if you never recognize that you're actually in a trap, you never know you're in a trap. And so therefore, you never do anything to get out of your trap. And that is how your soul gets trapped. And that is how you're left open to spiritual attacks, where you don't quite understand exactly why these things are happening to you, especially if you are doing the right thing and living your life the right way. You're trying to figure out, well, why are these things continuously happening to us? Not realizing that a DNA map, we have created like a DNA mapping to our cellular structure through beginning from before birth, before we're born. When we're in our mother's womb, we're able to take in the sounds and the information that our mothers are given to us. So if she is going through a stressful pregnancy, we in the womb are also under stress. And if the mother eats well, then the baby, the fetus eats well. And if the mother does not, then there could be other reasons to this. This is the reason why the mom takes prenatal pills and cares for herself properly, because what she takes in, rather it be on an emotional level or a physical level or just a spiritual level, what the mother takes in is also what the child takes in. So once the child is born into the light of this world. And see, light is information, and the way that light, the relationship that light has with matter helps to shape this universe and how we perceive it. And almost all universal information travels to Earth through light or electromagnetic radiation, so that before we're born with everything that we need. We're born with all of the information and the knowledge of who we are, why we came here, what our purpose, our destiny is. And see, once we're born into this light, now that information gets stored. It's sort of like when you think of a computer, or when you think of putting something in archives. That's something you have to dig for, or it's something that you have to find. It's like on backup, because now you've been hit with the light of this world, the downloading of this plane. And this is a process that we all must go through. So from the moment that we are birthed into this world, we automatically hit this worldly knowledge. Okay, our mother suckles us on our breast, the doctor smacks us on our bottom, gives us our vitamin K and all our drops in our eyes, vaccinations. All of this is information that the newborn is taken in. Rather, it drinks Similac, the way that the parents raise them, or guardians, the way that the child is taught to love, learn, treat others, treat themselves. If the child had good or bad experiences coming up, what were you exposed to? Were you exposed to a lot of joy, a lot of happiness? Were you exposed to, a lot of pain? What were you exposed to? So these things also help to, as we grow as a child, these things help to shape our world and our concept of it, of others in it, and our concepts of our environment. It shapes how we think, how we feel, our actions, our behaviors, and it also shapes our belief systems, so that by the time we're old enough to make our own choices, we are already hardwired as to exactly what the world is and how you respond to it. We've already been hardwired as to what the world is based upon what our experiences was as children. So once we're hit with new information, and once we're hit with new light that could free us and bring us to a higher calling through seeking knowledge beyond just what you've been told, beyond the knowledge of what your parents gave you, beyond the knowledge of what you learned in school, the things you learned from your friends, family, in your own experiences, but being exposed to a higher knowledge. A lot of times what we find is that we can't make room in our own minds for two opposing views. Okay. And because we have difficulty holding those two opposing views or that new information inside of our mind, we continue to have negative behaviors. We continue to complain, procrastinate, hesitate, not believe in ourselves, have a fear of failure. We never explore the chance to be free, to be our true selves. We never recognize that yesterday is gone, today is here, and we are creating our future right now, right here, as we speak. And so these are the things that actually leave us open to spiritual attacks through law of unknown attraction, because we're not realizing that these things that happen to us in our childhood, and maybe the things that we have done that we consider bad or we consider sins, that these things become deeply rooted within our subconscious, and our thoughts are released to our cells as messages. So our cells begin to have a relationship with our thoughts, and it actually becomes part of our chemical makeup. So in a sense, we become a sort of like our chemical makeup, a walking chemical makeup of our thoughts, and it becomes attached and becomes part of our DNA. So now we are attracting these spiritual attacks, because we're walking around with a DNA signature of trauma, of negative behaviors, thoughts, actions, feelings of lack, fear of failure, fear of success, just fear period, or fear in general. We're walking around with a DNA blueprint. And so therefore we leave ourselves open to spiritual attacks of the law of attraction, or rather unknown attraction. Like I said, so this creates a vicious cycle of stagnation, lack, problem after problem, consistent obstacles, untrustworthy people. So these things become such obstacles that, like I said, you never actually uncover your true self, the real reason why you're here. You never create that next miracle cure or that piece of technology that could save the world. You never heal who you're supposed to heal. You never reach the heights that you're supposed to reach. You never step up into your higher calling. You never receive the gifts that you're supposed to receive. You're never able to get out of your thoughts and negative thinking. You're never able to get out of your slump. You continue staying stuck in your thoughts, your migraines, and your headaches. You're unable to make real choices. And even when you make those real choices, somehow you find yourself right back as to where you were before. And you're not quite for sure as to why this continues to happen. You know, you find yourself with a lot of procrastination and hesitation when the world is right there in front of you. The world is yours, and you're able to manifest whatever it is that you want to manifest. So once you understand that, you know, you bring in change, that change is inevitable, just like death. Nothing stops, nothing stands in the way of death. It does not even respect royalty. So change as well comes in with as death, because with death becomes life. So old things are passed away and all things become new. So once you understand this and you seek higher knowledge of self, you seek a God knowledge of self, then you're able to release the chains that are being bound, that bind you here on a physical, emotional, spiritual, financial plane, as well as create your heaven right here on earth, as well as your heaven when your physical form passes away and you leave and you go to the next level. So that be all, folks. Peace.